Hello and welcome back to another video. Let me just fix a few things here before we jump into this. Now, I have deliberately not talked about this yet, so there is some things I would like to mention in regards to development map that's been set out by Clayton, Neil, and Bond, the Frontier staff. So, as many will know already, we are about 3 months into this development roadmap that's been promised. That's posted on the 14th of July 2025. As you can see, we're now in October, so we are a good couple of months in. Now, with how this is, we do have some of these already implemented in, as you can see by the green ticks. So we'll start off by quickly discussing them quickly in regards to it. So stealth overhaul, that was the original stat we had. That was addition with the Raven Ridge update, basically to make you a less visible kind of thing and improve your play damage for some reason. That was changed from stealth to survival, and they also changed how the food system worked in that. We did have a food and medicine overhaul, but that's been reviewed as well because it could be better. Proficiency overhaul, so certain weapons, every single weapon in the game has had some sort of proficiency change to it. So you can use all weapons from level 1. You can use about 50% of the weapons at level 1, but when you level up, you are able to get into that cap to use said weapons. So for example, if I go to my inventory and equipment, you can see my Valkyrie here is you need to be level 50 to equip it. So that's kind of example there as well. So it's kind of, I feel as if that might be something that needs to be reviewed again. And we've got the storage for implants and presets which you can find here. So I've got mine. There's a reason why it's called Speed Demon, because I'm fast as fuck boy. And your implants here as well. So I'll touch base on some of these ones first before we jump into this. So the stealth overhaul, that was actually a non-issue to be honest in terms of it being implemented. I completely understand it. I'm actually happy with what they've done with the weapon damage. It should be transferred to strength as it has. It just makes more sense. Stealth was pretty much a useless kind of one anyway, to be honest. The food and medicine overhaul, it made food more viable for everyone. So for example, this character can drink a beer, but you look in the early zones and that's absolutely fine. But in the past it would be zero nourishment, which I can understand why, but that does kind of make it a bit more acceptable for other things. I think it just makes it a bit meh. So for example, you've got discontinued items like beef burgers and that kind of gets screwed over as well. Like it's collector's items, but you know what I mean. It's not viable in that sense. And the same happened to medicine. That will going to be reviewed as well. Efficiency overhaul. Now I can completely understand it allowing like level 1 to use most weapons to start off with, but what I'm not happy with is the fact, like say for example, a limited edition item. So I have many in my collection book. So for example, Hellraiser doesn't have any proficiencies, but you need to be level 25 to use it. So, understandable, right? Okay. Oh, that doesn't have anything there. Interesting. But see if I go, for example, to something like my Hypercoil, you need to be level 50 to use something without any proficiency, which is quite backwards compared to what was said in the original. So for example, if I scroll down here, here you go, so no proficiency. So there should be no level requirement for that. So yeah, I think you should have stood by with the. If you're level 1, you should be able to use the Hypercoil, Flesh Seeker. You should be able to use those limited editions. Shouldn't be throwing them at like a high level because it's just kind of. What's the point if I'm going to end up having just not to use these and sell them kind of thing? I feel as if that needs to be reviewed as well, and obviously the implant storage is self-explanatory. So We do have quite a number on this list, and we do have like a number of things that says priorities for this. So we'll discuss the priority ones down here first. So the Unity 5 engine, with an update to this, there is obviously the concern of obviously recent security leak that's happened. That could still be a lingering effect on why this is delayed. There's no big communication that it has been delayed, but just FYI, it could be a reason why it may be delayed until we have like a concrete version. If that is the case, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I'd rather keep my account details as well as my bank details safe in that instance. So I completely understand if they say, guys, shut the fuck up, we're delaying it. With the Unity 5 update, a lot of these kind of things on this list actually will come from it. So I understand what the importance of getting this done first and getting it done correctly. So everything else here won't is a possibility basically. The HUD remake, so obviously that's going to be launched at the same time as Unity 5. For anyone who's seen any of Clayton's older mod videos, well not mod videos but mods for different here, you'll see that whenever he's dealt with the HUD for the in-game, he's actually done a very good job of it constantly. Even like beforehand, we didn't have the aggro spike meter kind of thing, we didn't have anything like that, but with the HUD remake he's going to be doing, it's going to look a lot more sleek, it's going to look a lot better, and it's just going to be presented in a much better format than it is currently. Currently what we've got right now is somewhat dated. It's not up to a 2025 kind of game, considering this has been alive for, what, 17 years now or so? Maybe 18, I can't remember, it's been far too long. We also have the map overhaul, so there has been mention of some of the stuff in this being changed. I am going to check Discord right now because I remember seeing that there was a map leak. So let me see if I can find it. Just put that there. So basically, instead of having the quite expansive map we currently have, there was a discussion of changing that, so it's to be a lot smaller. And you can get to death row within, say, minutes instead of 15 on average compared to some people's speed. Like I get down there very quickly, like stupidly quick. I don't think I see it. That tells me it's in a different channel then. Yeah, so let me just have a look. This is obviously isn't the best kind of video for this, but say Clayton. I can't actually search for... Okay, so I can't search it, but basically what the idea was is he wanted to make it a lot smaller. So currently right now we have quite an extensive map. We have all four corners, but top left, completely useless, nobody will go up there. Bottom left, nobody will go down there because there's nothing down there. Bottom right, we'll go down there because death row. Top right is where we kind of basically are. So he's wanting to make it so it's a lot less, so it would be a lot less utilised in the servers, so I mean less server load. Other thing that might happen is you'll need to increase the amount of people it is in each instance just to allow for that. It might actually cause the desync to be a lot less as well, because obviously that server load could be affecting that. There is the possibility that with this new map, because it is going to be so much smaller, it might introduce some barriers, if I remember there was a discussion of. So there's going to be barriers, so you won't be able to, say for example, get to Fort Paystart at level 1. You might not be able to get to Second Gnome Bunker at level 30 kind of thing. You need to go through certain instances, so like level 45 from Fort Paystart to Second Gnome you can get there. mean from there you can go down to death row, but it will still have its cap. Whereas currently, if it is a section of death row, you do not need a be level 75 to get into. So there is kind of some things up in the air at this moment because nothing's been discussed. But there's a lot of possibilities for this that people haven't taken into consideration. And one of the things also that could be taken into consideration of the map overhaul is the loot rates as well. A lot of people that I know and deal with on a day-to-day basis in the game are looters. I'm a looter. I'm not a PvPer. I've done my grind. I've done my labour, as you can see. So there is some things that does raise concern, but I would like to have more clarification from the devs in regards to it. So with that, it does take a transition to the multiplayer overhaul. Sorry. So like I was saying, some possibilities with the desync could be with the servers itself. Like for example, I know in the past it was GoDaddy. I'm pretty sure that used to be the server host for Different Year, and I think it's Amazon Web Servers, just like along with everything else. Um, they might not be up to a certain par to handle the kind of spaghetti code as it would be described for the networking, but with the overhaul that is going to be severely looked into and probably done from scratch to improve the quality of it. With obviously how AI is developed, we could probably get something a lot better than what was done in a Flash engine nearly 20 years ago. So we'll see how that goes. I have confidence that this multiplayer overhaul will be better. It might even sort out some of the issues with the bandits. And for those that don't obviously know, if somebody's killed the bandits, go AFK in that instance, decides he's just going to play about with the screen, he or she will stay there for the next 20 minutes. So everyone who enters that instance and gets shoved into there, they will be kind of forced to deal with 1 HP bandits and won't get the part of that. So with that, there's a lot of possibilities that could come from these main focuses. There is a bit of concern in regards to each bit as well. Obviously, with the map overhaul, it's not going to be as tedious, but I'm thinking the effects of it. Obviously, the Unity 5 engine obviously will affect a lot of stuff in this, and one of the things will be is already on this list. I'm not covered yet, and I'm kind of worried about it, in all honesty. So I've got my list on the other screen as well. I'm just going to kind of make sure I get stuff removed I don't need. I think I've got it. So the next thing on this is controller support. So for the last 15 years or so, people have obviously been asking for controller support for the game, and unfortunately, it's just not something that is possible. With how the game works, obviously you got your browser. It's not exactly controller friendly. If you want to use a controller, you need to use something like D4 Windows or DS4 Windows, stuff like that, to be able to manually move about on your computer to use a controller as a mouse, and that is the stuff that's going to be implemented in a game like this because we've got two separate elements of browser and standalone launcher or standalone game. Because they're not integratedly merged, as you can see there's other aspects on this, it just makes things a lot more difficult for it to be added in at this stage. However, with Unity 5 and the set out what the expectations and what the wants are from the community and development team, they want to make us all entirely integrated into one launcher. So you might log in on the browser, you just hit a button and it opens up a separate kind of game window, just like any other game. Like if you went to the Steam launch day Frontier Tower, that's a separate game in its own sense. So something like that, that would be quite interesting to see. But at this stage, it will be a possibility in the future. There is obviously off-brand kind of videos out there that I would probably be careful with. I know a lot of people want to play differently on their phones, on their PS4s, that's quite, that shows my age. Like on those kind of devices, like older devices that may not be able to use PC. So that is something I'll be wary of, but however, each to their own. Now the next 3 points I'm going to link in together. So as I was saying, literally in the last point, the in-game inventory, in-game outpost menus, and the in-game tutorial. So with that, basically instead of having to come to Dev Frontier's webpage, you go like, okay, inventory, sorted, there's my stuff there. No, wait, I need to go check the marketplace. Sorry, wrong thing, I might press bank here. Like, you will be able to do that within this one integrated standalone game. Don't know what exactly how I'm going to call it, but basically a standalone launcher in that sense. So standalone launcher is going to be your best example in that sense. So instead of having to press Inner City to go launch it, you would be going all from this one specific launcher. Now there's no mockups at this current time, but I can imagine it pretty damn well, and it will work because you can easily overhaul all this into that. Just mean the the overall launcher will be increased in size, so they will need to figure out another way to kind of ensure it's going to be actually correct, and how they're going to push updates into the players, because that will be an effect for this, and may cause some risk in terms of some of the elements to do with Dev Frontier as well. For example, because all the files will be your player accounts and files and such will be on client side, client and server side. The client side could be messed with a little bit, and that's a bit of a worry. Obviously, we've got all these kind of scripts for the standalone optimized whatever it is that was actually debunked. No, not debunked. Discontinued. Can't remember what it's called. It was a Google off brand. So, for example, some like the scripts in that, they might be incorporated into launcher, and some of those scripts can be good for generalized use, but some scripts can be completely malicious and obviously send something to, I don't know how to explain it. There could be there's a bit of a security risk with it, so there needs to be a bit more of a protection there for these in-game conversions. And this game has its own attitude system, but it's kind of shit. So it's going to be interesting just to see how these menus are going to be integrated. Like the first two have just explained that, but the third one there, obviously the in-game tutorial. So if it is going to be an actual in-game tutorial for new players to start with, they're going to have it, from what I can remember being discussed, they're going to have their own specific area. So they can actually go do whatever they want. They can go shoot zombies, they can go dive, they can do a mission. It's whatever they can feel they want to, really. Yeah. So the next thing on the list is new buildings. So this is something that I've been waiting for quite a while. We have quite a plethora of buildings that all kind of copy and paste into what is, because with the development time for the 3D, there was a massive push to get these buildings sorted. It took Neil over a year and a half, so if I remember right, to get these buildings as a template and get them pushed out. Obviously at that time we didn't have any use of AI, so he had to do it obviously manually, but now with AI you can get it to do some sort of easier thing. And with the game system obviously having a randomized exterior streets kind of thing, just do that, you're sorted. Make sure the buildings connect correctly with each other. That's probably what's going to happen with the map conversion as well. It's just going to make things a bit more unique. Buildings are going to be more specified, unique, and have more points of interest. For example, obviously the most recent point of interest we got was the Raven Ridge prison and the chemical plant. Apparently there was a rumour going about, apparently there is going to be a pet hospital kind of thing in the south of Raven Ridge, but I've never been, don't need to go through that interest, so don't know if it's bogus or not, but you can see there is possibilities to make this amazing. Endgame maps, now that's got nothing on it, but what I'll be presuming is, like, for example, if you hit level 415, you will be able to do like a boss rush kind of thing. You'll be able to go to an exclusive area. Maybe you actually find that specific second run bunker that's off site, and you will fight a bunch of people. You never know. There is possibilities with this. It's too vague of a concept at this stage, but there is other stuff there that could be cool. Special infected overhaul. So I can see this happen, obviously with the Unity 5 update, where we're falling more in line to make this more a horror survival game. For example, I do not want to see a leaper phase through a fucking wall. That would be terrifying. But what could happen is they could bring in something that, try to think. But in fact, yeah, they could bring in stuff that climbs on a roof kind of thing. So for example, you're in a building um, where you're just looting, you can have stuff that just drop in the middle room. Instead of just spawn like phasing in from somewhere due to multiplayer issues of the game, they can just spawn in as if they're dropped on the floor and come after you. So something like that could happen with a spider. That would be kind of interesting. But there's there's a possibility to revamp things and have them quote unquote mutate in that sense. So for example, a leaper might be slow as hell, pack a lot of damage, but he might be now an armored version. He might be deadly. Bones could end up growing into something a bit stronger, a bit bigger. Tendrils can have those extra tentacles with reach. Roots. Yeah, I can't think of anything for that, but bloats they can probably spit at you, like spit at range instead of just thrown up. So there's possibilities. Boss infected overhaul. So again, same kind of thing. We can see them having some unique traits like armor, maybe break through walls kind of thing, like certain ones. I don't know. There's going to be some interesting ones there because it's too vague of a concept. The next thing is the infected pathing. So this is a thing that it's going to irritate me the most, in honesty. But I get why they're doing it. So, for example, when you're in Raven Ridge or if you're in Death Row, if you have a horde coming after you, what you'll find if you hide behind a wall or something like that, if you have a grenade launcher, you just shoot over it. That's you sorting out the problem. However, with these infected pathfinding, they will not be stuck in that specific room. They'll know how to get to you. So that means you need to be a lot more prepared. You'll need to be carrying your better weapons and such instead of trying to do masters like I am. So if that is my concern with that, it will make things a lot harder. It will make it put people in a lot more of a difficult situation. But at the same time, it means that you're not exactly abusing something that's been in the game for such a long time again. But see how that goes because that will be a bit scary to see how that might be. The next one is a very interesting concept here, which is a infected zone breach. So, give it an example, we currently have a quick force reaction. Quick reaction force spawns in and around Secondham. So those are obviously could be a good way to get XP and such. But what we could do and with this is have infected coming out from Death Row kind of thing to other areas in Fairview. And think of it as Helldivers. They'll break into each area unless you'd be able to calm them down. So it'll be like a grinding kind of thing. It may have rewards at the end. For example, you may get given like $1 million kind of thing. You'll be given something at least, and I think that will work pretty damn well for both looters, grinders, and even PvPers. You can put as much as I hate it, you could put PvP on in these instances. I hate the idea of it being forced into PvP, but that's the option there. Instead of having like a group of people getting this reward, you can kill the other ones and get the whole reward yourself. But I think that should be down to an optional kind of thing. Like for example, if you're going to enter the instance, it'll come up. Do you want to PvP? Do you want PvP enabled? Yes, no, yes. You get flung into the PvP version of it. No, you get put into PvE. That will be interesting to see. Definitely be getting my Wraith Cannon back out for that. The next one is the outpost attack overhaul. Now this has long been needed. So if anyone who's not been around, if you used to have a 2D version, you used to have 3 different kind of outpost attacks. One would have been the rooftop, so that's why there's a battle axe called rooftop carry, because it's a meme. Where you used to have to sit on the rooftops and just shoot. I'm pretty sure. Hold on. Arcade shop. I'll see if I can show you it. I think one of these is the use it. Yep. So this as example, so you'll be on the roof, you have a time limit, you have to kill certain things here, so the zombies will run here. So once the zombies come, get a bit, but I should have used the VSS. This is the kind of example I want to show because this is what we used to be able to do. Now, I'm going to go back. So we used to have the rooftop, you used to have a scrapyard, and you used to have the front gate. So you had 3 different options, and currently right now we just have, here's a city, go fight. We don't have any of that kind of danger where it's a group community working together to make sure the outpost is defended, because at that point back in 2D, everyone worked together. It started off with basically, you're doing really bad, we're going to die kind of thing, to, oh my god, you saved us all, cat. Happy, thank you. And you got a lot of XP depending on what stage you were at and how much you contributed as well. So having that back would be fantastic, to be honest. It'd be something really, really good. But we'll see how they decide to go about it because not all outposts are the same. So there's some limitations, so each one will have a bit of diversity. And the next one is raid building. So I actually suggested something like this donkeys ago. So I think about how Pokemon Go when I was playing Pokemon Go with how the Team Rocket stops happened. You'd go in, you fight a bunch of bandits, you loot them. Yeah, that could be pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. New missions, exact same thing. We're going to get a player model overhaul, so the current player customization is going to be changing. If people remember, you used to have that in 2D, you have the person fading in from black. If they didn't have any clothes on, then you got these 3D models that had clothes available. You had stuff on, you can use it in that way. Cosmetic overlay, so transforming, I can't remember what it's called, but basically, instead of me using, say for example, the Dawn Saw, I'll use the Dawn Saw still, but it'll look like the Corpse Grinder, or it'll look like something else. Transmogrification, I think it's called. That would be good. That would be very, very nice to have. That's why people are still buying quite a lot of stuff. Like for example, imagine wearing a parasitic husk, but it looks like a sports armor. That would be the true Lazarus kind of armor effect you've got. Don't know how that's going to work because that would need to be costing either credits to get it started, kind of thing. I think because of that sounds more of a luxury than a option. So I'm kind of worried if that's going to end up. Weapon dice, we've seen it already. As implemented, it's just not being implemented fully into the game, and not everyone has it. Weapon armor mods. So this is quite an interesting concept. I preferably wouldn't have this come on in. However, this could open the concept of making every single weapon more unique. So for example, if I wanted a better Tomcat as a explosive kind of thing, that might be an option for that. If I wanted armor mods to increase my damage threshold, speed, damage to any kind of weapon, because I've just got the gunslinger mesh. That is a possibility for that. However, there's going to be negatives for these mods as well, and they will possibly rare loot at this rate unless it's going to be implemented into the yard as a random thing. I don't see this being particularly an issue, but I personally wouldn't like this to kind of come into play. It's just one of those ones that will be messy to deal with, especially in a marketplace system that's run by the players. But yeah, that's like obviously they can't understand of what these going to be. Now we are going to have a priority of these anyway, so we've got Unity 5, hard map and multiplayer. So they're your base game elements. Once we get Unity 5, all the rest of us will follow through. And I think one of the things that will follow through first is maybe the infected pathfinding and boss overhauls and such before we get the in-game integration kind of thing. A reason being is because this is all CAD browser based and we've got that specific standalone launcher. There's no point pushing the standalone with the in-game inventory menus and tutorial if you don't have these things done correctly first. So I think it would be Unity 5, obviously the HUD map and the multiplayer overhaul. So it would be your first batch anyway. A second batch might be Endgame map. No, it'll be new buildings. It'll be new missions, and it'll be the player model overhaul. Then from there, it'll be the infected pathfinding, infected zones, and the post attack overhaul. Then it'll be the special infected overhaul, followed by the um, in-game stuff here. Then it'll be control support, then it'll be the cosmetics, weapon dyes, and the final thing will be more like the weapon and armor mods because the game does work as it is now, but there is quite a lot of stuff that needs to be reviewed before you start messing about with a. It's not meta, but when you start messing about with the system, you need to make sure how each of these individual things work. And I think with that kind of step-by-step kind of batch of what should be done first, makes it clear on that, because obviously you don't want to. I'm not a developer, but if as a developer mind, you do not want to put a product out that's half finished. So I wouldn't be personally, I wouldn't want to have a standalone launcher sent out for everyone to use for the in-game stuff. If I'm going to have to reinvigorate again with these other aspects, like that actually does affect the gameplay in terms of the pathfinding and such. Um, it just doesn't make sense if I was not that if I was going to go my way, that way I've said it. If it makes sense, if it goes that way, it would make sense to say, okay, here's the game, here's another patch, a week down the line, it's going to be a bit messy in that sense. Um, but yeah, seeing honestly with obviously on this form, you've got all these kind of different bits here. So you can see there's always different kind of things sat here for you to see. These are my speculations, obviously. There you go. A versus blah blah. Yep. Frontal bone armor, blocks exploding deathly behind a toxic cloud. 10 limits damage, gains actual leap attack with. Oh, there you go. Widow, Spider, Root, Tendrils. There you go. So you got all of our experiences there. Yeah, so it just kind of develops each of these a bit better in that sense for it. You can go through every single one of these if you want. I'll leave a link in the description. Obviously, this is just examples of what they want to do and what I think may happen or should happen, and explained why these things are on the chopping block. For the sake of clarity, one of these two things here that I'd probably add in is. I would still think there would be more benefit to work on the clan system, and honestly, currently right now there isn't much you can. You do have a lot for it, but I think it needs to be revamped. I think there needs to be either more boosts you can set out for, or if you are a die-hard fan of the game kind of thing as a clan, what you should be able to do is pitch together, since we have the banking system, to put like money into credits money or give EPs to get like some sort of clan specific item. Like say for example, it might be a custom item, it might be a cosmetic, it could be cosmetic, could be armor, could be a gun, could be something for a clan page to make it actually stand out a bit more kind of thing. Just something more should be done for the clans. We should introduce a new system for the missions or challenges actually. So currently right now the challenges are cash shit. So the rewards are crap. The XP is actually not too bad in that sense. You get a lot for what it is if you're a gold member. I think what we should do, instead of giving you items, give you a token system. So instead of for the weekly here, so I've killed all of that. Give me my money, give me the XP. But for item wise, give me like 5 tokens for this. Give me 5 tokens for this one. Give me 2. Give me 2. And give me a separate shop to, say for example, down here, or go into challenges and have challenges here, then something above here saying you have access to the challenge shop, and let me look at the items in there. So for example, it could be money, it could be an armor, it could be a cosmetic sachet. It just goes around here, says I got this, and in the description of it saying, like for example here, have it saying can be worn, scrap, non-transferable. I spent X amount of tokens, challenge tokens, on all I got was a sachet. Like, it's just something stupid. Give it its own wee shop kind of thing instead of getting this shit rewards. Yeah, that's the two kind of things I would add on in terms of this. Like, just make that kind of more full. Like, that would be more optimized for at least me. That's my opinion. However, obviously people won't share the same thing. But yeah, with this development roadmap, sorry, other people will have different opinions. Some people are more speculative than me. If you have anything different to say or anything suggested that you might want get improved first or added, let me know in the comments. Because that'd be interesting to know what you think of the life cycle or future plans of the Evan Frontier is going to be. Because with all these changes, it's going to change things for the dramatic kind of thing. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I do apologize, it's not gameplay, it's a discussion video, and I hope you guys enjoy your day, and goodbye.